Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Tuesday webinars by the Franchise Talk. Thank you so much for joining us today. This webinar series, which takes place on the second Tuesday of every month, aims to share insights and experiences from experts in different industries. For this month, the theme of the webinar is Opportunities with Beauty Franchises. Our two speakers for today's webinar are Sepideh and Cedric from the Grooming Company. And they will both be talking to us today about N.Bar and 1847 executive grooming for men. As head of global franchising, Seppi is responsible for driving the rapid expansion of the Grooming Company's brands internationally. Seppi has 24 years of experience across leading multinational organizations in MENA and Europe, with extensive experience in organizational transformation, franchising, strategic HR, and mergers and acquisitions. Her expertise is within startups with rapid expansion and established businesses from both an operational and strategic viewpoint. Our other speaker, Cedric, is in charge of business development for Middle East and Asia. He studied business and marketing at the IDRAC Business School in Paris. Based in Dubai since 2012, he has 17 years of experience in the beauty and wellness industry and has worked with some of the market leaders such as LPG, Creo, and Mesotech. Cedric joined the Grooming Company in 2020 with a focus on developing the outbound lead strategy through a network of brokers, franchise events, and portals, as well as implementation of a new CRM system. Sepideh and Cedric, thank you so much for joining us today. I would like to pass it on to you for your presentations.
Thank you, Michael, for the introduction.
So N.Bar and 1847 are under the Grooming Company Holding, and the Grooming Company Holding is a company that has about 6 brands, all in the beauty and wellness industry. And we focus on brands that you will see in the next slide that are both UK or UAE grown brands. So in the next slide, as here, you can see the 6 brands that we represent. It is N.Bar 1847 that we're going to be sharing with you today, but we also franchise Strip Hair Removal Experts, which is a UK-based brand. Other brands that we have in our portfolio is Trevisorbi, Sisters, and Jet Set. So if you're from the region, you will be familiar with at least 3 of these brands. Today, we're operating out of 5 countries internationally, and as you can see, the split is 56 branches are company-owned, and about 10 are franchise operated. We expand so fast that it's difficult to keep track of all the numbers. Globally, we have 675,000 happy clients, and we're very proud of that. We also have 900 therapists and staff on our team worldwide. So if we go to the next slide. Thank you, Cedric.
Which I'm trying. Yep.
This is just to give an idea about our global footprint across the 6 brands that we have. As you can see, mainly we operate in the UAE and UK, and with franchising, we also operate in Canada, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. For us, franchising is one of our biggest strategies and initiatives in the next 3 to 5 years, where we're looking to expand across the globe. So we have already started, as you can see, regionally, where Saudi is our most aggressive expansion. We are looking to open by 2026 an additional 22 stores there. We opened our 2nd store in Riyadh in December, and we have already 2 more opening next month. So in Saudi, as you know today, things are happening very fast. Another area for expansion is Canada, where we have another 19 locations coming up. And also we're focusing more on the UK, where we believe that we will be able to acquire about 30 franchisees by end of 2027. So for us, we really believe in supporting our franchisees because we're a service brand. And we want our franchisees to be able to uphold the same standards that we have. And our clients are travelers. So it happens a lot that clients walk into Canada, into UK, into Qatar from Dubai and say, oh, I know this brand from home. So they want to make sure that they have the same experience wherever they go. With that in mind, we are now creating our teams regionally. So this will be duplicated in all the regions that we're in. So each region will have its own business development manager, its own operation manager, and its own trainer. So the operation manager will be the person who is the point of contact and like an account manager for each of our franchisees to make sure that they get that one-on-one attention that they need. And as you can see, Cedric, that's on the call with us. He's the business manager for Middle East and Asia today. So what would make our franchise model very unique? To start with, we are a multi-award winning brand and we have been operating for more than 20 years. In fact, N.Bar had its 23rd anniversary this week. So we're very proud of that. So we bring that wealth of information and knowledge with us and we give that to our franchisees. So our franchisees will learn from all the wrongs and rights that we have done in the past. So they kind of get that end product right away. We also already have a global presence. And what that means is that we understand how industries work in other markets. So we're looking to expand with N.Bar in 1847 in the UK. We already own brands in the same industry in the UK, so we understand the sensitivities of the market. The same regionally here. We have been operating in this region for 20 plus years. So our franchise partners in Saudi, Oman, Kuwait, they will be able to have that experience as well. We also offer, which we'll be going more detail later, an extensive pre and post opening support. We also, as I mentioned before, we have a dedicated operation manager. And most importantly, it's a very strong financial model, which we will present to you later in the presentation as well. Cedric will take you through that. Over to you, Cedric.
Thank you, Sepi. So let me introduce you to 1847 Executive Grooming for Men. 1847 is a one-stop shop offering very exclusive male grooming services with a unique customer journey. We are proud at 1847 of being a multi-awarded brand. And you can see here on the right, we have won for the past 3 years in a row the awards for the world #1 male spa, which is a huge achievement, especially in this very high competitive industry. Today, as we speak, we have 16 operating branches, where 14 of those branches are own operating locations, and then 2 of them are for the franchise. You can see also on the right that we are in the premium locations, either in Dubai and also in Qatar, but it's also a mix of different type of locations. So, for example, if you take the Dubai Mall, it's going to be a very high-end and high footfall, mall, where we can go also in the community mall, for example, a community destination with, for example, let's say city walks, very easy to park, and then you can get your services done. So 1847 also has been founded in 2004 and was the UAE first dedicated grooming lounge for men. And why 1847? Because it was named after the year of the safety razor was invented. Our mission in 1847 is to make a difference in our customers' life. And yes, of course, it's very important to make sure that you look good, because if you look good, you feel good, right? Our vision is to become globally the recognized destination for executive and high-end male grooming services and product, because 1847 is not only services, but it also retail with high-end products that we will discuss a little bit later. Here you can see our core services, which is going to be the hair, where you can get your haircut, your hair trim, but also the beard services. So that's going to be the barber area. Then you will have the manicure, pedicure, and then the massages. So those are the core services, but also we have some other generated revenue services. So we have also hair removal and some beauty facial treatments. What I would like also to highlight here, and the beauty of in 1847 services, the diversity of the menu and what we offer to our clients, we are proud also of having designed some signature services for each of those different areas. Here on the right, you can see also the unique proposition. So 1847 is not just a barber shop, right? Like people may think if they never experience 1847, but it's something unique. And that's our position on the market, like you can see here on the right, is what you will find today as we speak in your market. Either you will have a very informal barber shop, but you can go, for example, you can go even twice a week or every other week, but it's going to be it's not going to be that hygienic. You can have like a $5 haircut, if not less. But you're just going to go for your service and you're going to leave, basically. It's not going to be the whole journey. It's going to be pleasant. And on the other hand, you're going to have, let's say, the 5-star hotel, right, where you can get ready for your Saturday wedding, for example, and you will spend like 3 hours. But of course, you're going to pay like a very high price and it's going to be very formal. And most of the time, you're not going to be able to enjoy all those services that we offer at 1847 under the same roof. So our proposition is to come, as you can see, being like a lifestyle. 1847, we want our customers be part of their lifestyle. And that's why we're going a little bit slightly towards the formal because of the profile of our customers, but also we want to make sure that they come frequently. So you don't need to come just for your hair and, for example, for, let's say, your massages, but because of the diversity, again, of our services, you're going to be able to come and to enjoy other type of services. Here you can see the main generating areas in the 1847, where you can see on the top left our retail area. And to give you an idea, we aim for 17 to 18% of the revenues being generated by the retail. To give you a little bit more background in terms of 1847, the DNA and the design behind, is that when it was founded in 2004, the first location was at Emirates Towers, which is like a very, it's a government tower, building where you have the Prime Minister office. So it was, the intimacy was very important at this time. And of course, 1847 used to be like a closed wooden door where you press the button and basically the door will be sliding and you have the magic behind the door. So if you will walk past by, you will not believe that it's, for example, there is like a retail area, you can buy male grooming product or you can get even services. And a few years ago, we decided to revamp the design and to open the retail area. To give you an idea, it jumped from 4% being with the old design and the closed door to like 17, 18. And some locations where it's like a high footfall, it can go even more to like 18 to 20% of the revenues. Some of the brands, for example, Murdoch's is our own brand. So we own the brand. And then the other brand is going to be like also a very high-end product for male grooming product. So here you can see the second picture is going to be your manicure and pedicure lounge area. And you can also come with a guest. For example, if it depends on your mood, if you want to just switch off and enjoy your services, we give our guests also like a Bluetooth headset and you have a screen in front of you. And the beauty is that you can have multiple services in the 1 hour, for example, duration. So you can do your manicure, pedicure, but you can also enjoy your neck and shoulder massage, for example. And like I mentioned before, let's say you have a guest, you can just have a sliding door next to you, and you can just enjoy also the service together with your guest. Next to it, you will find a barber area where you can see our signature barber chairs are from Italy. And to protect the hygiene and the comfort also of our guests, each barber will have his own stations with the whole setup. Okay. Then the next picture you can see is going to be the treatment room. It's going to be to enhance our client experience with a preheated bed. And the guest can choose the scents basically prior to the service. So the therapist, the massage therapist will take our guest and you can smell different type of oil, for example, and you can choose which one you would like for your service. And please note that each treatment rooms come also with a shower, and that's important to protect, of course, our guest intimacy. Over to you, Sepi.
Thank you. So where I believe 1847 is our 7-star brand, we like everything 7-star here in Dubai. N.Bar is our 5-star brand. It was our first brand that we developed, and it has a very strong DNA that still lives with us today. Again, this is also an award-winning brand, just as 1847 is, and we have a mix of local as well as international awards here. As you can see, we have more than 20 branches worldwide, including with our franchisees. We also have 220 employees and 120,000 happy clients. If you can play the video, please, Cedric.
Sure.
It gives you a little bit of a glimpse into N.Bar and the experience. So here, it's really a one-stop shop and, you know, a fast glamour for nails. In these chairs, the guests can get multiple services done at one time. So within 45 minutes, they can get their manicure, pedicure, head, neck, and shoulder, massage, and be out of the door. We also have additional, you know, relaxing add-on services like facials and foot massage, etc. Thank you, Cedric.
Thank you.
So in the next slide, we talk about the vision and mission of N.Bar. And here we're a little bit, our mission is a bit different from 1847 because each brand has their own distinguished DNA and aspirations. So for N.Bar, our mission is to inspire the love of the manicure pedicure whilst empowering our beauty specialists with the skills and knowledge to be confident in their roles as N.Bar ambassadors. Our therapists and beauty specialists, they spend 98% of their time one-on-one with our clients. So they are the best ambassadors that we could ask for our brand. And for us, we like to invest a lot in our teams to help them grow and become upskilled. The vision, though, however, is on a bigger scale, is to inspire every woman and man to have a perfect manicure. So as part of our brand here in the UAE and the region, we only cater to female guests. However, internationally in Canada and in UK, we also accept male guests. So let's discuss the brand positioning on N.Bar. So here in the red square, you will see the three positionings, the same as we did for 1847, where there is the high street salons that maybe charge, you know, $10, $15 for a manicure. Maybe the hygienes are not where we are, or maybe they're just really like fast service in and out locations. For us, we kind of put ourselves straight in the middle, where we are sometimes on the high streets, but more of the high-end locations in town, because we need a certain amount of clientele with a certain amount of income to cater to our services. However, it's a very frequent visit. So for us, our average visit is about every 2 weeks for our clients here at N.Bar. If we look at the service section, nail is our biggest USP. So we do all things nails, and we do that better than everybody else, we believe. So our recruitment of our guests would be always through nails, where we actually acquire our clients. And after that, the clients will then start using our additional services, and we cross-sell to lashes, waxing, facials, and massage. However, we will always scream about how well we do at nails, and that is really our core business. Again, the same as 1847, we do win a lot of awards for N.Bar, both internationally and locally. However, the one that we're most proud of on this slide is the Ooh La La Awards, because this has actually been won by our franchisee in Qatar. And the reason it's so important is because it demonstrates that our standards, our SOPs, and the franchise management system that we have set up really translates really well to franchisees and to different markets, because even our franchisees are now starting to win awards internationally. If we look at the interior of N.Bar, it has also different sections for the different revenue streams, where we start also here. We have a retail. If you look at the bottom corner, we have a strong retail offering here as well. And in N.Bar, we gear more towards home care and aftercare. So when you come and do a service, we want to make sure that there's a product that the beauty specialist can recommend for aftercare. And if we look at the other areas, as you can see on the other lower corner, you see the multi-chair, which is really our biggest money makers, because in this chair, you can get up to 3 services done at one time. So that saves time for the client, as well as increases the productivity of your branch. And it's also important to say that the client profile differs in N.Bar from 1847. 1847, our male guests, they will go in and they will treat themselves, so they can stay in there for 2 to 3 hours sometimes. But for the female clients that we have for N.Bar, it's more fast glamour, as we like to say. They like to come in, get their services done all at once, save time, and kind of be out. Because for women, I think nails and eyebrows and lashes, it's part of our hygiene and day-to-day grooming now. So everything before we have looked at now has been the DNA of the brands and what makes 1847 unique and N.Bar unique. For the remainder of the presentation, we will be looking at how we support you as franchisees. And that back end is the same regardless of which brand you would franchise with us. And it's a very extensive program that we have put on to onboard and help our franchisees be successful. So once you have signed an agreement with us, that's really when the journey starts. That's where the whole adventure of becoming and opening your first location starts. And the first point for that is the franchise management system. So we have invested and built our own tailor-made franchise management system. And in this system, you will have your global contact directory to everyone in our company that you need to be in touch with. You have your franchise operating manual, your marketing resources. We have a help desk that is a ticketing system. So if you have any inquiries or requests, you can just put that through. It's like a one-stop shop for you. And the guide to open. And the guide to open is your own project plan, because it takes 130 steps to open your own N.Bar or 1847. And we will take you through that in your own project plan. So this will give you just the highlights of those 130 plus steps. We have broken it down to a checklist to make sure that it is manageable and that, the franchisees, you don't become overwhelmed when you look at what you need to do to open the store. So all you need to focus is on the next step. And more importantly, your operation manager for your region will be guiding you through this checklist. On a high level, we will help you first with your site selection to make sure you have the right location. Then we look at the store design, which is usually the most exciting part, where we get to be creative with our franchisees. We support you on recruitment, ordering of products and furniture, marketing, and then the soft opening. I think 2 key things to focus on here is the management training. So once you sign with us as well, we offer you a 7-day management training here in Dubai, where the owner and the key person and the managers would come to be trained. And here what we focus on is how you run a business. So we look at your P&L, your key, KPIs. How do you measure if you're successful? What do you need to do to become successful? We talk about your inventory management, financials, and marketing, everything that an owner needs to know or an investor needs to know to be able to assess the success of the investment that they're making. Further down, you will see on week 7 to 6, we have on-site training. So once the fit out of a location is done, we will actually fly in our trainer from Dubai and the operation manager. For the 2 weeks, the trainer will train all your technical team on all the SOPs and services that we have. And the operation manager will set up the store with the manager that you have hired from your end and train the front of house, which is the receptionist and your supervisors, on how to run the day-to-day store. And then they will, of course, stay for the first week of opening, which is the soft opening, to make sure that they work with you on any teething problems on the spot that you have. After the grand opening is done and the opening of the store is done, of course, we stay in touch, where we start with weekly meetings with you, then bi-weekly, monthly, and eventually quarterly meetings. But that key person and your key person and our operation manager will always stay in touch to make sure that you stay focused and on the path to becoming a very, very profitable business. So over to you, Cedric.
Thank you, Sepideh. So how do we support our franchisees in finding the right location? Because yes, obviously in franchise, finding the right location, I don't need to explain to you how important it is to find the right location, but also for us, we want to support our franchisees with providing the right tools in order to be able to assess the location. And that's why we will help them and provide with a site selection manual So you have more like than 20 slides where we want to understand the layout, the measurement, yes, but also we want to understand a 360 and overall understanding about the location, not only the location, but also the area. What's going to be the demographic like? Is it going to be like a very high footfall mall, or is it going to be like a street level location? What's going to be the brands around that's going to attract the right people to come to an N.Bar, to an 1847? So all of this, we will study the locations. We give the site selection manual to our franchisees. Once we receive the completed site selection manual, there is a committee, franchise committee, that will basically have a look at the franchise management, the site selection manual, and they will approve the location. If not, then obviously they will support and they will make sure that we have the right location for our brand. In terms of design, we have also an architect designer that is working with us and designing the locations for the brands for the past 12 years. And this architect designer, especially for the first location, that's going to be very important. We provide our franchisees with all the detailed drawings. We also support our franchisees with the marketing, and that's also another important point when it comes to the franchise, to make sure that the marketing campaigns are going to be always aligned regardless to which region you're going to be. So we want to make sure it's going to be on brand, and to support our franchisees before even starting and launching their first marketing campaign, we will provide with an onboarding meeting and training, marketing training to their marketing executive and to the franchise owner. So we provide with the marketing drive. So they're going to have an online drive, very easy to access and to get access to all the marketing campaigns, where we provide with a marketing calendar, a 3-month marketing calendar. And for example, let's say you launch like in a different country where the Mother's Day is going to be different, for example, one country to another. So we want to make sure that either on 1847 or N.Bar will also celebrate the Father's Day, for example, let's say for 1847, or the Mother's Day or the Women's Day. That's something that we want to make sure that you will be also like communicating on from the marketing point of view. So we will support by providing also the marketing frame. And once we receive the marketing campaign, it's going to be for us to approve, and then that can go live basically on your social media. We also provide our franchisees with a website to make sure it's going to be standardized, again, to all the different regions. And we link the website also with, we're going to list the locations, and it's going to be linked to your Google account, right? So the Google review is going to be there, but also the exact location, and it's going to be easy for the customer to find your location there. You're also going to have the price list that's going to be listed there. And you can see like all the prices for the service for your customers. Talking about the booking app for 1847 and N.Bar, so we have been tested in the region here, the booking app, and it's now ready to be launched for very soon for the franchisees. And it's going to be a very user-friendly booking app where basically you can find the closest location based on where you're going to be at the moment of the booking. And then you can see also the list of services, you can see the prices, and you can book for a specific therapist for a simple booking process. Over to you, Sepi.
So for our point of sale system, we use Zenotti, and this is a very comprehensive point of sale system. You will see further down in the presentation that as a company, we take data analysis very seriously, and every decision that we make is usually based on very strong data. And Zenotti is very good at capturing that. So at first hand and first glance, it is an appointment system. It is a scheduling system. It's customer management, as well as employee scheduling, etc. But what the reporting helps us do is to build a lot of efficiencies in your business, where we can measure the utilization of your team, the frequency of visits of your clients, and their preferences. So we can start tailoring packages and other specific products for your clientele. So the comprehensive analysis that comes with this tool is what makes it very important for us.
So technology has been a big part of our expansion, and that's why we have bundled all those softwares and tools to simplify also and standardize for our franchisees. And in the bundle, you're going to find the point of sales that Sepideh just took you through now, but also the franchise management system, the website, the booking app, the music concierge, and also the emails and the shared drive. So we really want to support our franchisees and make sure they have access to a full turnkey solution as well. Because we understand we can have franchisees who never franchise, for example, in the past, and that's why we come as an expert, and supporting our franchisees for us is going to be also very important. Let's move now into the investment for 1847, and later we're going to go into the N.Bar. On a very high level, so how our franchise model has been structured. So we have a franchise area development, which are basically the country right, because we are looking for country developers. And for the country right, we have a franchise fees of $120,000 that will basically cover your first 3 locations for the franchise fees. And we have an ongoing royalties of 6% on your revenue. Any subsequent location will cost you $20,000. And in our franchise model, we don't charge for the subsequent location when you sign the agreement, but only when you will be ready to open your subsequent location. So, for example, location 4, 5, 6, 7, and onwards, that's when you will be basically paying for those subsequent locations fees. The initial investment, and I would like to highlight here that it will vary from country to country. Why? Because the majority of your initial investment, 70 to 72%, will go towards your fit out, right? That's why, depending on your contractor, how much they will be charging, your initial investment obviously is going to be, can be completely lower, or can be around the $600,000 to $700,000. But in your 650 here, we give a ballpark figure covering your franchise fees and also your working capital for the first 3 months of the rent, of the salaries, etc. Please note that also we require our franchisees to have at least 1 month before the opening. That's where you start to kick off the salaries, because you need to have the full staff for the training. In terms of breaking even period, we're trying to be very conservative here, and we want to give a 12 months breaking even period. Return on investment 2 to 3 years, but I would like to mention that to give you an idea here, for example, in the UAE, where we have a strong brand presence and we have 14 locations, and let's talk even in the Middle East region where we have a strong brand presence. In the UAE, we have an average return on investment of breaking even period, of 3 to 4 months. But we want to be conservative here, and in order to be more accurate and to give more visibility from the investment point of view, as part of our process, we do a P&L where we provide our franchisees with a P&L template, and we do a 3 years projection. So we look at the bottom line, and we are a EBITDA-driven company, and we will understand for both parties, what's going to be the bottom line from the EBITDA, basically. Sepideh?
Thank you. So the structure for the fees and investments, the structure is pretty much the same for N.Bar. However, the franchise fee is a bit lower at $100,000, but again, here the $100,000 includes the first 3 locations. And again, you have the 6% royalty, subsequent locations are at $15,000. And here the investment is a bit lower at $450,000. That depends on a couple of things, which is the material we use in N.Bar versus the material we use in 1847, but also the locations are much smaller for N.Bars than they are for 1847s. Here we have the same break-even and return on investment period, but just again to give you the comparison for this region, by 6 months usually we get our break-even period here in Dubai for our N.Bars. As Cedric said, for each location, each franchisee, we will spend time to go through and create your own P&L, because for us it's really important that our franchisees are profit-making. That is more important than just to award the franchisee and grow the brand. We really need to make sure that our partners are as successful as we are. So we thought we'll take you through the steps of becoming a franchisee with us. This is a process that should take about 7 to 8 weeks. These are about 7 steps, but some of them happen one after another, and some of them just happen parallel. But I'll take you through the different milestones that we would go through before we award a franchise. So, of course, when the initial inquiry comes in, we will have a quick conversation to make sure we're aligned about the brand and if we're a good fit for each other. Then we take it to the next step where we do a site visit. These can happen here in Dubai. Of course, if you're not located here, we have online site visits as well that we take you through remotely. Then we look at the brand presentation, and we go into more detail at this stage about how we would support and the franchise opportunity, because each region has their own financial opportunity and it differs from region to region. We will then ask our franchisees to start doing their business research. They start on their business plan in step 3, and they start looking at acquiring information about the setup cost and the P&L. Around this stage, we usually ask the prospect to sign an NDA, because we want to be able to share as much information as possible from our side to make sure that the P&L that they create is accurate, as accurate as possible. So that NDA will be signed, then we can actually work on a very detailed plan. After that, we also start doing our due diligence on the franchisee and vice versa. We recommend that the franchisees do their due diligence on us because it's a mutual partnership. We then enter into a confidentiality and commitment agreement, or an LOI, where we require 10% of the deposit. So this is where we also issue a draft of the franchise agreement for the franchisees to go through and take their time, and we recommend that they do that through a lawyer. And we can also start spending more time from our team to support with all the different research and verification that the franchisee might need. When all this is done, the detailed business plan is done and the financials make sense and the franchisee is ready, we would then invite them to the director meetings, which is the franchise committee, and they would present and we would have a dialogue. And after that, we would decide to award or not to award the franchisee. Usually we notify the franchisee within 48 hours or 2 business days. And once step 7, when the franchisee is awarded and this line, they're signed on the dotted line, is when the 133 steps to open starts. And that's really when the real journey starts with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, Sepideh.
No, it's okay.
Thank you both so much for the amazing presentation. I guess now it's time to move on to the Q&A part of the webinar. I just want to check both of you have your cameras on, and then we can kickstart the questions. To everyone watching, please, if you can send any questions that you may have over to the chat portal so I can ask those questions as well. Okay, so thank you again for the great presentation and for joining us today. I think to kick off, I would like to ask the first question with regards, you mentioned working with country developers. Can you go more into detail if you're also open to working with single unit or private investors, and or are you only looking for country developers to work with?
Sure. So our our franchise model is a management franchise. So you don't have to be from the industry to be able to open one of our franchises. And for the different parts of the world, we have a different model. So where Cedric focuses in Middle East and Asia, especially, we grant countries. So I mean, and it's area developers, so there's no sub-franchise rights. And let's say in Saudi, we have one franchisee who is developing all of Saudi for N.Bar, and they're going to be opening around 30 units in the next 4 to 5 years. However, in Canada, we have a master franchisee already. So there we can award single units. And of course, the fee structure for that would be different. And we're happy to discuss that one-on-one with whoever is interested. And also in the UK, we award single and multi-unit franchisees because the business model there and the landscape is very different. Mm-hmm. And for the UK, our franchise fees are very different than the rest of the world as well, because we try to align with the region and what other franchisees charge for that, franchisors charge for those regions.
Okay, thank you for that. This is kind of a 2-part question. I'm going to combine them a little bit. One, I guess, is for Cedric. If there's any, immediate plans for expanding 1847 outside of the Middle East? I think from the map that you showed, I think primarily it's focused in the Middle East as of now. And also part two of that question, is it harder expanding a male grooming franchise compared to expanding beauty centers targeting women?
So if I may, Sepideh, I will take over the first question, and I will leave to you maybe more on the strategic level the second question. But to answer the first question, Michael, of course, opening outside of the Middle East is like part of our expansion plan. We will not look at, like, for example, which country exactly, but I will talk more about like what's going to be the landscaping that's going to be suitable for a brand like 1847. How do we identify a good market? That's going to be some key criteria when it goes, for example, to like, let's say we look at, for example, the purchasing power. We will look at, for example, the currency. We will look at, like, we will landscape the market on different layers. Mm-hmm. And that's where we will be able to identify if it's a good market or not. To answer your question, yes, we're more than happy to extend outside, of course, of the Middle East. And as we speak, also UK is part of our short-term expansion, and Sepideh is leading also the UK market as we speak. So, of course, now talking about the Middle East region, of course, because we have the strong brand presence, Michael, you understand that for us, in terms of like strategy, of course, it's going to be easier for us to open in the region, but we have the capacity, the resources, the knowledge, and the know-how, and the expertise to go in other countries. And we already started, obviously, to map out, because we receive inquiries from different countries, from North America, to Europe, and some like even Southeast Asian country. And we're always happy to take our time to really like measure the capacity and the potential for this market.
Okay. Great, thank you. And for the second part question, in terms of comparing expanding beauty centers for women versus male grooming?
So I think it's interesting. It's a very interesting question, actually. You know how we started franchising, just to tell you the story. It started with our clients here in the, UAE is such a transient environment. So we have clients that were here and they moved back to Canada, they moved back to, UK, and they really couldn't get that service, whether it was 1847 or N.Bar, they couldn't get that service back home. So they reached out to us over and over again and wanted to franchise. And in the beginning, it was not something that was on the horizon for us. However, because we got this request and we realized we have such passionate brand ambassadors already internationally, we set up the whole franchise function. So it so happened that our female clients at that time were more excited and wanting to have an N.Bar in their backyard, so to say. So we started more aggressively with the N.Bar franchise. Also, the investment level to enter in the market is much lower with N.Bar. So where you can have 20 N.Bars, you will probably end up having maximum 7 or 8 1847s in that market. So depending, of course, where you are. Dubai, we're lucky to be able to open maybe 14 N.Bars, 1847s in a small place like Dubai. But even in London, central London, you probably couldn't do more than 3. So it really has to do with the landscape. So I think N.Bar, to answer the question, we can open more N.Bars. A market can be more saturated with N.Bars, but 1847, because of the entry in the investment and what the market can bear, it will always be a slower expansion.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you. You did briefly mention about the average customer visit being 2 weeks for N.Bar. Do you have the number for 1847 on average, how often a customer visits?
Cedric?
So I don't have the actual numbers, but what I can say is, like, because I spend a lot of time going in the locations myself, and obviously, going with all the branches manager and make sure that I'm aware of what's going on the market now. But I can tell you, like I mentioned before, being a lifestyle, 2 main criteria. The first one is going to be the frequent of visit. And we can see that we have customers that come every other day. And why is because here where we pick a location for an 1847, let's say you are in a corporate environment, executive, environment, where you have recurring meeting, Michael, you want to make sure that you look good and you are ready for your meeting. So I give you an example. For example, we are in the Emirates Towers, where, like I told you, where is, for example, the Prime Minister office. We have customers that will come, for example, between two meetings, and they will come every day or every other day just to get, let's say, like a beard trim, or they want to get a manicure, pedicure. So I would say it's more frequent for the 1847. And the second criteria is also the time that they will be spending in the location. I'm not talking about like, I need to get like a beer trim because I get a meeting like in 15 minutes, right? I'm talking about someone who's going to come and, for example, they have the time now to spend, and the money, of course, to spend in the 1847, and they want to enjoy, switch off their male grooming journey. So we believe, and I know that they will be spending more time compared to an N.Bar, including myself, Michael, even before I joined the grooming company. So
I have to say we're very jealous as ladies when we walk into 1847 to tour the potential franchisees. We're a bit jealous because N.Bar is very, quick and transient service, even though it's a great experience. However, we go in and we see the lounges and the treatment rooms in 1847, and our clients can sometimes spend up to 2 hours in an 1847.
Wow. Interesting.
And they spend more. So the average ticket in an 1847, I can't give too much detail, but it's much higher than an N.Bar. So the men, they spend more and spend more easily.
Okay. On that subject, like if opening the brand in two different parts of the world, two different regions, do you see any differences in the trends of the customers? For example, is it very busy on certain parts of the week versus the type of customer coming, by the demographics and such? Do you see a huge difference which will maybe affect the decision of the franchisee to kind of open up in their own region?
Sure. I think it's not so much about the region, but the actual location of each branch. So for us, like Cedric mentioned, we are in DIFC or Emirates Towers. This is mostly office locations. So their middle of the week is more busy. During the working hours, actually, it's more busy. Maybe they're busy until maximum 8 o'clock, and then it goes quiet. If we're in a mall or a community area, so we are in the Spring Souk, let's say, or City Walk, where there's a lot of residential and more community, there we can be busier more on the weekends and also later in the evening as well. And I believe, we have other brands in the UK, as I said, and there we see the same pattern. Where we are in the, in the business areas, it follows the same pattern as well. So I think it's more about the location than the country.
Yeah, I completely understand. You also on the subject of the difference between N.Bar and 1847. Is there a very high operating cost for 1847, maintenance and ongoing kind of expenses to maintain the equipment and the furniture inside?
No, it isn't. I think the biggest is when you do the actual setup. That's where the biggest investment comes in 1847. Again, because it's the larger unit, and also there's more finishing. The wood and all of that, where N.Bar is more clinical and more clean. But no, the maintenance is not higher because everything is very durable, and we don't use that many tools in 1847. It's like scissor and trimmer, where in N.Bar actually we have more equipments to give the nails and the extensions and so on. But overall, the upkeep of our locations is not high because it's very, we have, over 20 years, we have worked out all the kinks of what is durable and what isn't. So yeah, especially in the first 3-4 years, there's not much maintenance required at all. And after that is usually refreshing the paint, maybe some surface areas that would need to be changed.
Okay.
Michael, if I may, I would like also to add something to Sepideh, because she mentioned about the size that is different. And we forgot to mention the minimum size for an 1847. We talk about a minimum of 2,000 square feet and a maximum of 2,500 square feet. And for an N.Bar is a 1,000 square feet to 1,500 square feet.
Oh, we have a new design for N.Bar.
Okay, so I'll stick to the 1847. Yes. And I would like to add also that it goes for, like, let's say, like countries and cities where you have like easy access to real estates and large locations. But we understand, like, let's say tomorrow you move to Paris, to London, or to Madrid, the real estate is going to be a big challenge for us, right? Regardless to which brand. And that's why we have the resources and capacity to look and redesign the location. I'm not going to talk about N.Bar, but we have already started to work on this. So if we have anybody, for example, interested in like major capitals, they need to also understand that no, it's not mandatory to have the 2,000 minimum square feet, but we're happy to look at, like, let's say a smaller size location if it's within a premium location.
Yeah, I can imagine it can be very difficult in big cities like Paris and London to find real estate available, and the cost, of course.
And when we look at the P&L, of course, it would be something like,
oh yes,
yeah.
So I just wanted to add for N.Bar. Today, our average N.Bar location is about 800 to 900 square foot. We rarely go higher, mostly because we have learned how to make the space more efficiently used. And also, as we expand globally, there was two things. We realized that we don't get this perfect rectangular spaces anywhere else except Dubai and anywhere else in this GCC. Outside GCC, buildings have been there for a couple of hundred of years, so it was very difficult to fit our existing design. So we've actually have a new design concept for N.Bar. We're launching the first location here in April. First week of April, and hopefully you will host us again so we can actually announce it here with Franchise Talk, our new design, but we have a very elevated, more global design that we want to introduce, and it got born from us franchising in the UK, where we needed a more variable design that could fit in different sizes from 20 square meters and up. We can fit an N.Bar now. A profitable N.Bar. I think that's what's important, but the design is more fashionable and on trend as well.
Okay. Are you looking at kind of refurbishing or renovating the existing N.Bars into the new concept slowly or by
slowly?
phase?
Yes. So every new N.Bar will be the new design, and as we refurbish, we will refurbish in the new design. We wouldn't ask our existing franchisees to change their designs, because they're all quite fresh and new, and we wouldn't put that kind of cost on franchisees. However, for us, because we're a bigger company, we can afford to kind of do that change a bit faster. But from now forward, all the new locations will be in the new design. And once the first location in the UAE has opened, we'll be able to actually launch it openly.
Okay, I'll definitely get in touch in April just to get some photos of the new concept so we can have that featured.
Thank you.
We did have a few other questions regarding marketing and also training. If you can go into a little bit maybe more detail about the training and ongoing support. For example, if someone is not, if it's a single unit or private investor and they're not really experienced in the industry, how comprehensive is the training and the ongoing support, of course?
Sure. So for us, we're equal franchisors. So whether you only take a single unit or a country, the training that we give and the time that we invest with you is the same. So it's as important to us. So let's just look at the two types of clients that we have or franchisee. One is the investor that takes a country and they're going to expand anything between 6 to 20 locations, let's say in the next 5 to 10 years. So with that franchisee, we go in and we help them build their own training center and their own trainers so they can continue their growth. And for a single unit franchise, we also train their therapists, but we give them continuous refreshers. So the training that they get initially is the same. So if we look at that 7-day training plan I mentioned earlier, where for someone who's taken a country, we say bring minimum 4 people to the training. The more, the better. We don't limit the number of people we train. So for the owner and key person training, it's a 7-day boot camp where we teach you everything from opening to closing the store in the morning to the evening. We take you deep dive in your financials, products, utilization, anything that you need to know how to run a business as an investor or owner. The same training, regardless if you take in a country or a single unit. And then for the single unit, again, and for the big units, we arrive for 3 weeks when you're opening, and we train your whole team for you, and we stay for a week to make sure everything is going smoothly. So regardless of the size of your investment, our partners and our brands are so important to us that you will get minimum of 4 weeks of training. Of course, there's ongoing refreshers. And we launch a lot of new services because we want to continue to be the pioneer in our industry. So continuously, we update our services and introduce new products. So every time we do that, of course, it's complimentary training for all our franchisees again.
Okay. Great. I think that's always valuable to have that ongoing support, especially in starting a new business. We have a couple minutes left. Someone asked, you mentioned about 1847 retail, the products, some are made in-house, but where are the other products coming from and where they're produced or distributed from?
So it's a mix of like our own brand that we own. We own the Murdoch, which is a UK-based, London-based brand. And we use also Murdoch not only for the retail, but also for our services to ensure very high quality services. And then we have a mix of different brands that will come majority from Europe. You will have some Patrick, some Philip B, some Dr. Levi. So it's going to be a mix of very high-end product. But we have also some other brands, for example, let's say like Kerastase. So we always I would like to join also Sepideh to what she said in terms of services, and we're trying to innovate. And that will be the same also for our product selection. And we want to make sure that when a customer at 1847 will step in the area, in the retail area, that we want to make sure that we will offer diversity of high-end executive product for men. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, definitely.
I think I'd like to add to that also that we realize that each region doesn't have access to the retail mix that we have curated here for us in the UAE. So we work closely with the franchisees to see also what's available in their market that would be popular for them to use. So just to give the example of N.Bar in Saudi, there is a Saudi homegrown brand called Hydro, and we actually use that in our services and in our retail because it's a very popular brand. And we also want to kind of give back to the communities that we're in.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, perfect. Let me okay, I think that's it for the time we have today. If someone wants to get in touch with you, we will share your details with them afterwards. But in case you want to mention now, the best way to get in touch with you, please do, whether it's by email or phone.
I will tell you a very, very quick way. Even if you go on our website pages on the 1847, you will have an N.Bar, you will have a franchise tab, and it's going to be very easy for you to contact us through the franchise inquiry page.
Or you can email Cedric at thegroomingcompany.com.
The same for Sepideh at thegroomingcompany.com. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you, Michael.
And thank you. And a special thank you to both of you, of course, for joining us today.
My pleasure.
To the audience, in case you didn't manage to watch the full session, a recording of this webinar will be published on our website later this week. thefranchisetalk.com is the website. So the next webinar by the Franchise Talk will be taking place on April 11th, which will be covering home service franchises. And please mark a calendar for that. In the meantime, thank you everyone for your time today again. And
thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.